Data Wrangling, lecture 1 of week 1. So week 1 we have one lecture. So lecture 0 is the first lecture, and this is lecture 1 is for the second lecture. The topics that we're going to cover in this lecture include an introduction where we're going to talk about the role of data wrangling. We're going to introduce R as an open source, flexible programming language that has lots of community support. We're going to talk about the basics of R. We're going to go through installing of R and R Studio. We're going to talk a little bit about packages, assignment operator and evaluation. We're going to see how we can use R as a calculator and the styling guide of how to code. And finally, we're going to talk about homework assignment for week 1. The role of data wrangling. The verb to wrangle means to fight, argue, or disagree. The reason for calling it data wrangling is because it's actually as wrestling with data. يعني as a data scientist, if you are dealing with data, you'll be wrestling it. You will be trying to untangle it. You're trying to make it or shape it in a way that is useful for you. الآن كل ما كانت الداتا مطوعة، إذا نقدر نقول بهذا المعنى، كل ما كان الاستفادة منها بالنسبة للأناليست أعلى. أغلب الوقت اللي بيقضيه داتا ساينتست بيكون في مرحلة تقييم الكواليتي للداتا تاعتنا، how good or bad is it. أيضا how في الوقت أيضا في اللي هو البري بروسيسنج اوف داتا اللي هو جزء منها الداتا wrangling. 50 إلى 80% من عمل الداتا أناليست هو يشمل الداتا wrangling. إيش هي الداتا wrangling؟ هي تعتبر the main building block to perform data visualization and statistical modeling. يعني in order to present the data in a useful format, سواء using statistical packages or using visualizations، نحتاج to conduct data wrangling. وهي أيضا is the fundamental to becoming an expert data analyst. A data analyst الجيد is a really good data wrangler mainly. الآن تعريف data wrangling. Data wrangling is the ability to take a messy, unrefined source of data and wrangle it into something useful. Okay, so data عادة بتكون messy، مش محسنة ومش واضحة، مش جاهزة، وusing الطرق المختلفة للwrangling نستطيع أنها نخليها useful and presentable. هي أيضا the art of using computer programming to extract raw data and creating clear and actionable bits of information for your analysis. بمعنى إنه إحنا بنستخدم raw data and we convert it into meaningful information باستخدام computer programming. So it's an automated process. It's not a manual process. The entire front end of the analytical process requires many tasks. Mainly هي 3 tasks. هي get, clean and transform. يعني إذا أنا راح أعمل I want to analyze data or I want to deal with data at any point I am doing one of the 3. إما إني I'm getting the data أو I'm cleaning and preparing the data أو I'm transforming the components or the data. الداتا wrangling process تبدأ بالgetting, cleaning and then transformation. ولكن هذه النقاط اللي هي الgetting والcleaning and transformation هي لا تحدث بهذا الشكل linear. It's actually ممكن إنها تكون في عندنا setbacks. بمعنى I can get data وابدا اعمل cleaning, and then I find out that I need more data, so I'll go back and get more data. I can transform the data, and then I feel that the cleaning that I've done was not enough, so I will be applying more cleaning on the data, or I can go back and get more data. So it is not as linear as it looks. Okay. Now, when we transform the data, we can visualize the data, meaning that we will turn it into plots and graphics, or we can model it. And an example of that is to create a machine learning model or a statistical model or any other model. And finally, we communicate it, which means that we present it in a presentable manner, in a report, in a paper, in anything. So the final step will be communicating. Coding requirements means that we need a command line environment where we can um, write commands and get results instantly. We need to be able to work with different forms of data, not only one type of data. We need to work with number, characters, strings, categorical, logical, regular, textual, complex data. We also need to be able to use or to deal with data structures, which is actually a combination of the basic forms of data. And we also need to deal, or the ability to deal with missing data. We need to be able to import data from different sources and to be able to share the data. Okay. We need to have an improved code writing. So we have loop commands, and we have also control statements, if, else, etc. And we also need to be able to tidy the data. Tidy بمعنى نرتب. So we are able to manipulate, sort, summarize, and join the data or join multiple parts of the data. To read more or to understand more about data wrangling as a concept, I highly recommend that you go to this journal paper. It's published in Journal of Statistical Software. It's a 2014 publication, and it's called Tidy Data. These are books, but the journal paper is actually open access, so you can just write Tidy Data and you'll get the full paper. This is the paper, Tidy Data, and it's actually explaining what is the important components of data cleaning, data tidying, and it actually applies the concepts into a case study, so you will be able to see how data is actually transformed using data cleaning. Now we start talking about R, the programming language of choice for this course. It's an actually language that is used for data analysis and graphics, used by statisticians and data scientists. We use R for data pre-processing, for cleaning, and we can use it to scrap the web, and visualization, which means creating plots and graphics. It's applied in computational statistics, econometrics, optimization, and natural language processing. So it has many applications, and it's used by various organizations such as in Google, Facebook, Twitter, the Department of Defense in the US, Etsy, and also New York Times. Now, why R is popular? R is popular because, first of all, it's open source, meaning it is free. It is flexible, so it keeps on changing and improving. It can be incorporated into other environments, so you can find it, for example, with visualization software such as Tableau. You can find it within, for example, RapidMiner, which is a machine learning tool. You can write R code. And you can also integrate it into other programming languages such as C hash and C++. And there is a community that provides support, and there is support for development, and you can also find huge resources for you to understand and apply the different functions of R. When first of all, you need to install R in order to be able to use R. You have this link. You go to this link, and then you download it, depending on your operating system, and follow the instructions of the installer. Also need to download the R Studio, which is an integrated development environment with a powerful user interface for using R. And you can also look at this. I am providing the link for R Studio, and also this is a quick guide to download both R and R Studio. This is the R Studio console, and it consists of multiple panels, actually 4 panels. The capture here shows 3 panels, but there are actually 4. These are the 4 panels of R, and you will get used to them and to their functions as we continue to take this course. Now, over here we have the source, and we're gonna look at the source, not today, but we are going to use the console part, which is the command line part. And there's also the environment and history panel, and there is also the miscellaneous. We call it miscellaneous because it has multiple tabs with it, so it has multiple functions. Now, to understand the console, we have the script editor, which is at top left, and this is where you can load R script, and the R file usually has the extension .r. The features of the script editor, that it allows you to highlight syntax. You can do code compilation. You can edit multiple files, and you can use find and replace function. The workspace environment, it shows you the objects that you defined, uh, vectors, matrices, lists, functions, user-defined objects. Now, when you save your project, actually, the workspace will be saved along with your script file, and they will be saved in your default working directory. So you have a default working directory. If you want to know what's your working directory, you can use get work wd, or if you want to change it, you can use set wd. Now, the console on the bottom left, this is where this is what we call the command line, where you can simply write code and execute it. It is usually used with calculator functions that we will introduce in a minute. And it also shows the output of your script in the top left panel. The miscellaneous display, which is on the bottom right, you will see many tabs, but mostly you will see files, plots, packages, helps, and sometimes there are more. The files, you will see that you will see the files available in the working directory. Plots, you will see graphics and visualizations if your script includes them. Packages will show you the packages that you've downloaded and or loaded into your project, and the help will help you search for topics that you need help with. And this is a YouTube video explaining these panels. Now, when we work with packages um, in R, it's actually considered to be the fundamental unit of sharing in, or code sharing in R. So if you want to share code, you create the code and you save it into a package, and then you send it, you share it with others. It is easy to share, and it combines everything. It combines code, data, documentation if you have ones, and also tests. And the main source of packages is CRAN, but you have also Bioconductor and GitHub. If you want to install a package from CRAN, you will only need to use the install.packages command, and then you will write the package name between two parentheses, and it will install it for you. Now, if you want to load a package after installing it, you have two ways. Either you write library and then you write the package name, or you know the exact function in a package, so you will write the package name and then you will write the function name. Now, an example library, this is tidy library, so it will be loading the whole library for you, or you will load tidy, gather, and then you give it the arguments it needs. This link here contains some useful packages, but along the way, as we move, we will always learn about new packages. Now we have when we want to assign values, this is what it's about, assignment and evaluation. We use this symbol, so it allows us to assign value to a variable. So if you want to give x the value of 3, you write the code in this way. And if you want to know what's the value of x, you will just write x. And we're talking here about the command line, the bottom left panel. And if you type it, you will see, if you type x and then you see 1 between brackets, it means that this is the first output, because sometimes you can have a script that's returning multiple outputs, so it will give numbers to each output you add. It's important to note that R is case sensitive, meaning that you need to pay attention when you write your code. Upper letters and lower letters are not treated the same. So here's an example. We defined x, y, and z. All of them are lowercase, and we gave them values. And when we multiply x, y, and z, it gives us the result. And this is number 1. However, if you capitalize y, it will give you an error saying that y is not found. Now we can use R as a calculator, and we're still talking about the command line, the lower left or the bottom left panel. So you can simply divide two numbers, okay? And you can decide how many digits you want to see. So here you want to see only 3 digits. You can use pi. This is a constant. And you can choose the option of displaying how many digits. However, the maximum number of digits allowed is 22. So if you try to ask it to display 23 digits, you're gonna see an error. Please try this in your R Studio. And there's also other operations. 8 plus 9 divided by 5 to the power of 2. 8 plus 9 divided by 5 to the power of 2. And 8 plus 9 divided by 5 to the power of 2. And 8 plus 9 divided by 5 to the power of 2. So I want you to explain to yourself why is it different, the difference between the results here. Now, when you want to display undefined, or R wants to display undefined calculations, which means that division by 0, it gives you two values. It's either inf, which means infinity, so this is division by 0, and this is also none, which means that's not applicable. And you can try that. There are 3 types of division. There is the regular division. This is the regular division. And this is the integer division, which gives you the number in integer form. And this is the module, which gives you the remainder of the division. Another important property of R is vectorization, which means that you are able to declare vectors, which is actually a one-dimensional array. But the difference here is that R allows you to easily do operations over vectors without having to go through loops. So if you want to declare a vector, so you define it this way: x, c, 1, 3, 4, where 1, 3, and 4 are the elements of x. Or you can define it as x, and you will say it's one-dimensional. Here it's one-dimensional, 3 elements. Now, you can create here x and y, these are vectors, and you can apply addition, multiplication, or you can logically compare the elements between x and y. And this is actually very useful and very fast. It's considered as a fast for loop. Another function or another property of R is that it allows for recycling. Recycling معناها إنه if you have two vectors and they are not the same length, okay, and you want to add them, R allows you to do that. يعني ما بيعمل error, allows you to do that. بس إيش بيعمل؟ إذا كان عندنا مثلا حسب هذا المثال we have two vectors، واحد اسمه long واحد اسمه short. long فيه 10 عناصر وshort عنده 5 عناصر. So long عنده العناصر من 1 إلى 10 وshort عنده العناصر من 1 إلى 5. هذه قيمهم 1 2 3 4 5 إلى 10، وهنا 1 2 3 4 5. لما نطلب منه نعمل long plus short بيعمل addition إلى العناصر اللي بنفس العدد اللي هم 5، وبيروح بيضيف بقية العناصر اللي موجودة في long زي ما هي. هذه هي خاصية الريسايكلينج، وهذه الخاصية مفيدة إذا كان عندي مثلا long هو عبارة عن vector of 10 من 1 إلى 10 one dimensional vector، وعندي variable c قيمته 3 وأنا عايزة أضرب في 3 كل القيم، فبيروح بقول long multiply c بيروح بيضرب القيمة فيهم كلهم. طيب الآن coding بيقول لك this is Hadley Wickman. He says good coding style is like using correct punctuation. You can manage without it, but it sure makes things easier to read. So if you are sharing your code with others, in this case would be me, I want you to use and follow the style guide that is in the PDF. I'm putting it in a PDF in your Blackboard in week 1 folder. Please read it. It's like 4 pages. Very simple, but it's extremely useful and it will make our lives easier. Okay, now what I need you to do this week, I want you to install R and RStudio. I want you to reread the lecture and try all the examples in the slides just to familiarize yourself with R, particularly in the command line for today. And then read the coding style PDF. I will definitely need you to follow it either in your exams or in your homeworks. And you will find the first homework uploaded on week 1 folder on Blackboard in the and you will be so this is where you will find that what you need for your homework. But I need you to upload a capture of your screen showing your results in the assignment section. Please remember that this is non-graded homework. However, if you submit all your homeworks, you get 5 grades from your assignment grade. So this is it for this lecture. I would like to thank you all and for listening, and I hope that it was clear. And next week, inshallah, we will continue with R, and we're going to move into dealing with the different data forms that are available in R. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.